In the 21st century, the face of human mortality has transformed. With medical advancements tackling many infectious diseases, today's deadliest threats are not always caught, but often quietly accumulate over time within our bodies and environments. As of 2024, the greatest hazards to life worldwide are primarily non-communicable diseases, chronic, slow-progressing conditions that arise from a complex interplay of lifestyle, environmental, and genetic factors. Yet, a handful of infectious diseases continue to cast a significant shadow, especially in regions where access to healthcare and resources remain limited. At the top of this list, cardiovascular diseases, comprising heart disease and stroke, dominate with an overwhelming toll. Each year, these conditions claim more than 18 million lives globally. For decades, they have accounted for a substantial proportion of global deaths, with cumulative numbers reaching into the hundreds of millions. Why do so many fall prey to these silent killers? The answer lies in the ubiquity of risk factors such as high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, unhealthy diets rich in processed foods, physical inactivity, and the pervasive influence of tobacco and alcohol. Often, heart disease and stroke develop quietly, without symptoms, until they manifest catastrophically, sometimes with no warning at all. Many people remain unaware of their underlying conditions until a heart attack or stroke occurs, by which point the outcome can be fatal. Not far behind is cancer. In 2024, it is projected to cause approximately 9.6 million deaths annually. Unlike the triumphs achieved against smallpox and polio, cancer remains elusive, with rising death rates fueled by aging populations, environmental exposures, and lifestyle shifts. Early cancers are often asymptomatic, allowing them to grow and spread undetected. In many low- and middle-income countries, late diagnosis and barriers to effective treatment further drive mortality. Certain malignancies, like pancreatic and lung cancer, are particularly aggressive, compounding the challenge. The burden of cancer is cumulative, with millions of families each decade confronting its devastating consequences. Environmental factors also play a direct and sometimes hidden role. Air pollution, though often overlooked, is responsible for around 7 million deaths every year. Microscopic particles from industrial emissions, vehicle exhaust, and indoor stoves penetrate deep into the lungs and bloodstream, triggering or worsening diseases such as heart disease, stroke, lung cancer, chronic respiratory conditions, and infections. The effects of air pollution are insidious and widespread, touching nearly every part of the globe, regardless of national income or economic status. Among chronic respiratory diseases, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, accounts for approximately 3.3 million annual deaths. Predominantly impacting long-term smokers or those consistently exposed to harmful air or occupational pollutants, COPD slowly erodes the ability to breathe. The disease is often diagnosed only when it has advanced irreversibly. Its progressive and incurable nature means that, for many, everyday activities become a struggle as lung function steadily declines, culminating in premature death. Diabetes is another condition rising quickly in prominence, causing over 1.5 million deaths each year. The global surge in obesity, driven by sedentary lifestyles and calorie-dense diets, propels diabetes to ever-growing rates. Although manageable in its early stages, diabetes can quietly lead to catastrophic complications: heart disease, kidney failure, blindness, nerve damage, and increased susceptibility to infections. Too often, diabetes is diagnosed only after significant harm has already occurred. Kidney disease, claiming approximately 1.3 million lives annually, is similarly stealthy. Referred to as a silent killer, chronic kidney disease frequently progresses without obvious symptoms until its advanced stages, by which point treatment options may be severely limited. Rising rates of diabetes and hypertension, two of its primary risk factors, mean that more people are at risk today than ever before. Turning to infectious diseases, tuberculosis remains among the world's deadliest communicable threats, responsible for around 1.25 million deaths each year. Despite the fact that TB is curable with antibiotics, it flourishes in areas with poverty, overcrowding, and inadequate medical infrastructure. The emergence of drug-resistant strains has complicated treatment, rendering some infections untreatable with standard medications. When combined with the ongoing HIV epidemic, which weakens the immune system, TB becomes especially perilous. HIV/AIDS itself continues to impact the world profoundly, causing about 1 million deaths annually and totaling over 44 million deaths since its emergence in the 1980s. HIV attacks the body's immune defenses, leaving individuals vulnerable to common infections and cancers. In many communities, stigma, discrimination, and lack of access to life-saving antiretroviral therapies exacerbate HIV's toll. Malaria, a mosquito-borne disease, remains a leading killer across parts of the globe, especially sub-Saharan Africa. While annual deaths now number in the hundreds of thousands, malaria's cumulative death toll over the past century is measured in the millions. Its impact is heaviest on young children and pregnant women, for whom the infection can turn rapidly fatal. Efforts to control malaria through bed nets, insecticides, and medicines have saved millions of lives. But persistent poverty, resistance to treatments, and changing climates threaten continued progress. Finally, neurological disorders such as Alzheimer's disease and other dementias are taking an increasing toll as populations around the world age. These progressive disorders gradually destroy memory, thinking skills, and ultimately independence. With no known cure, management focuses on slowing symptom progression and supporting those affected. As life expectancy rises, so too does the number of people affected, making dementia a growing contributor to global mortality. Across all these diseases, certain themes emerge. Non-communicable diseases now account for roughly 3/4 of all deaths worldwide. Their dominance is closely linked to rapidly changing environments, urbanization, shifts in diet, and increasingly sedentary lifestyles. Many of these diseases progress silently, catching individuals unaware until interventions come too late. Furthermore, systemic challenges, ranging from unequal access to healthcare, poverty, cultural stigma, to environmental exposures, continue to exacerbate outcomes, particularly in low- and middle-income nations. Yet, infectious agents remain a formidable threat. The struggle against diseases like tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, and malaria is far from over. Fueled by drug resistance, social determinants such as poverty and education, and shortcomings in healthcare infrastructure, air pollution operates as both an environmental and direct medical hazard. Its role in increasing heart, lung, and systemic diseases cannot be understated, especially as urbanization accelerates.
In summary, the deadliest diseases of 2024 are shaped by a blend of evolving lifestyles, environmental hazards, social circumstances, and persistent infectious risks. Understanding these patterns highlights not only the challenges faced today, but also the pathways to prevention, early detection, and global action that may define a healthier future for generations to come.